Welcome to Your Thoughts, Your Reality with Michael Cole, the podcast that shines a compassionate light on the journey of veterans battling through life's challenges. Michael is a dual elite certified neuroencoding specialist in coaching and keynote training presentations, dedicated to guiding military veterans as they navigate the intricate pathways of post-deployment life. Join him as we delve into the profound realm of neuroencoding science, empowering these brave individuals to conquer universal battles, procrastination, self-doubt, fear, and more. Together, let's uncover the strength within you to re-engage with families and society, forging a new path forward.
Hello, everybody. We have our special friend here. She has been on the show multiple times and so grateful she is back to spread some more golden nuggets and wisdom. So we have Gina Iovino back again. And, we might as well just live next door to each other at this point. It's awesome.
Yeah. Or just get on every day.
I know, right? Let's just do it every day. So a little bit about Gina for people that don't know. Gina Iovino is a functional nutritional coach specialist and a dual elite certified neuroencoding specialist. She holds the title of neuro wellness coach, emphasizing holistic approach to health. She has 3 Marine brothers, which brings her very close to her heart with veterans, obviously, and of course, first responders that she works with. You're supporting veterans in their health and their wellness journeys, which is really awesome. I love every time you come on here. And we're going to be talking today about Dr. Amen's Bright Minds principles. And I'm excited for that. So, Gina, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself, and then we'll dive in.
Yes. So I started my journey getting into functional nutrition because I had my own health scare. So once I had resolved what was going on, I was like, you know what? More women need to have this information. Nobody needs to suffer this way. Health is possible. We can reverse so many things that are wrong. And so I just jumped in, continued my education. And so here with functional nutrition. And then from there, because I do a lot of volunteer work for veterans, first responders, and their families, it was very important to me with also having my bachelor's in psychology that I continue my education and really understanding what is going on with the brain as far as things with TBI, PTSD. We've got depression, anxiety, and those type of things. So I wanted to see what was going on mechanically in the brain and how I can use nutrition with some other tools to help them as far as having some resiliency and some also recovery.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And thank you for what you do. It's so important for civilians and veterans alike, obviously. But it is a fantastic work you're doing, and always an honor to have you on the show. Before we get started, before I forget, on top right corner, the blue QR code, there we go. Please scan that. It goes to Empower Performance Strategies. There are all kinds of valuable tools. There are some ebooks that I've written. There are a couple of Facebook groups, one for veterans, one for veterans' families, and just get involved in the community. Reach out. There are resources available to you. So again, blue QR code, slow down, empowerperformancestrategies.com for those listening on podcast forums later on. So Gina, I know we got a lot to go through. Gina has prepared a presentation, so we're going to kind of skip around with questions and so on. She's going to be very detailed for people that are on the podcast forums later on so that you understand what she's talking about. And of course, you can jump back onto social media and see these later as well.
Yeah.
So, Gina?
Yeah, no, this is perfect. Presentation. And also the reason why I do this too is because I'm also a visual learner. I like to see also as I'm listening and being able to kind of go back and, what was that? So that's why I did this for all of you. So what Michael had said earlier is that we are going to be talking about Dr. Daniel Amen's Bright Minds. And he did this concept because he really, he is actually on a mission to save people's brains. And so what better way he came up with Bright Minds and each one of these letters. And today we're going to go to the first 4 and go through what those are. And then this is a way that you can kind of, as you're going through, your day, your weeks, your months, your whole year, you can keep Bright Minds in the back of your mind. So that way that you can have a healthier brain, you can live healthier, happier, have more longevity, and be very more productive, especially for our veterans, right, that are transitioning out. We want to keep them just as resilient as they were going in as they are coming out. So
love that.
Yeah. So
And can I just, before you start, Gina, anybody that can, especially if you're on the podcast, but regardless, grab a pen and piece of paper, take some notes. This is going to be fantastic information for you that we're just bringing value. So, Gina, please.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So we're going to jump into it. And the first one is, and it double skipped me. So I'll go back. But the first one is blood flow. And now that is super important when we are talking about the health of our brain and also the longevity of our lifespan too as well. Let me get back in here. Excuse me. Thanks. Cursor double click there. And blood flow, when we think about it, it is very critical to our life, right? It carries things like nutrients, our oxygen. It also removes toxins out of the body, and flow does matter. So, if you have good blood flow, you also in the brain, as we're going to be going through, as I'm going to be showing you later, is there are complications that can come from having low blood flow. Just a little bit of a history on the brain, which is really pretty cool and interesting that I learned when I was studying under Dr. Daniel Amen, is I didn't know our brain is as soft as butter. Like if you left it out all day, that lukewarm kind of mushy gushy feel, that's how soft your brain is.
Wow.
So it's very delicate, and it's encased right in a hard skull. And so we have to be very careful on what we do to protect that supercomputer, right? That's on top of our shoulders.
Absolutely.
And the average of everybody has around 80 billion neurons. Some people can obviously have more depending on how you were grown up, depending on your genes, how healthy your mother and father were when they conceived you. So there's a lot of things that go into it, but the average is about 80 billion neurons. And that's a huge number, right? That's a lot of connections. That's a lot of electricity, a lot of power, and a lot of energy that you are producing every single day. So I wanted to put that in because I really wanted you to see actually how amazing and beautiful your brain actually is. And one of the biggest things that we have to talk about is hydration. Because our brain is made up of 80% of hydration, of water. So we need to make sure that we're staying hydrated and that we are keeping that brain, that buttery, silky, delicious brain, very plump and alive. So a couple of things that I had listed here for you that you would need to have healthy blood flow, okay, for your life is one is, remember, we just talked about hydration. But I also want you to get your heart checked. And why is that? Because we normally know that if we have problems with our heart, we probably also have problems with hypertension and blood flow and some other things, plaque and stuff could be going on. So knowing that is very, very important in how you're functioning. Knowing, again, your blood pressure is another great thing, that example. And we want to make sure that we have a good balance of a diet high in omega-3. Our brain really loves the nutrients from those omega-3s. And so that's something that you can start incorporating. You can get that from fish, seafood. If you also, if you're the kind of person that doesn't want to eat animal too, Dr. Daniel Amen, if you go on his site, he has an amazing amount of supplements on there. And he also now has a vegan version of the omega-3, which you can take and is very, very impactful and helpful.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, but those other foods, just if you're looking for something like what can help me with blood flow to increase my blood flow, things like rosemary was one that we learned about, beets, cayenne pepper, really dark chocolate and those polyphenols, pumpkin seeds. And we also learned too, he told us a story about some testing that they did with military in their emotional health and helping with that. And the hyperbariatric chamber with oxygen was really helpful in doing that too as well, in reducing inflammation in the brain. So that's something that you might want to look into and consider too as well if you've had anything like TBI, PTSD, a lot of concussions. So,
absolutely. Susan and I literally were just talking about that.
Yeah.
Where you brought it up.
It's amazing. Well, a lot of us too, you notice that we do a lot of shallow breathing during the day. We're really not getting in a lot of oxygen. We can go into this some other time, but belly breathing is really becoming super popular for functionality and cognitive functioning. So Really some really cool stuff. But we also too, with blood flow, we want to think of some things that can hurt our blood flow. Okay. So here are some things that we should probably reduce, which is caffeine. I know we all love caffeine. You still can have it in moderation, but having a whole pot of caffeine is not going to be good for you or for your brain. And the reason why is too, because caffeine can last anywhere, depending on, you know, your tolerance can last anywhere from an excess of 6 to 8 hours. And if you have it later on the day, like let's say around 4 o'clock, you know, you could be causing yourself at bedtime when you're supposed to be resting and digesting and sleeping and repairing. You could be still feeling those after effects of caffeine, which will cause you to not have a great, you know, sleep quality for the night. So
that's a great tip as well. Thank you.
yeah. So eliminating that. Also too, alcohol. We don't want to have an excess of alcohol because it does do a lot of, you know, damage to our system. And that sad American diet, which is hyper palatable foods, really bad oils, excess of sugar, and also, you know, salts too that aren't really good for you. And then again, too, reducing that hypertension that we talked about, that blood pressure. So you can do that in with having a very good diet. And then things to eliminate, you know, when we think about our blood flow, you want to make sure that you are not setting yourself up for heart disease. And actually, surprisingly, too, I was surprised to kind of hear this, that women, if that's like the highest rate for women as they get older, is heart disease.
Yes.
Yeah, so shocking. So we want to make sure that we are aware of that. Also, too, the next thing is having a sedentary lifestyle. They're saying that sitting is the new smoking. Because we're just constantly sitting all day. We are not moving our body. And when we don't move, our blood doesn't flow either. So I want to make sure that you're getting up and that you're not constantly just kind of sitting all day. It's kind of great to have, like, you know, a watch or something to kind of see what kind of steps you have going on, kind of like some motivation to push yourself. But yeah, that's one thing. And as we all know too, smoking, but I put vaping on there with an exclamation mark because the toxins that are in vaping are just so detrimental. One of the studies that I just recently was looking at was how they are now, some of the neurotoxins in it are actually eating away and deteriorating your bone.
Wow.
So yeah, so that's something that definitely, if you are doing it, I would stop ASAP.
Going to be interesting in about 10 years what comes out about all of that.
Yeah, yeah. And,
Okay.
and it's surprising too is, you know, the number one factor of Alzheimer's is low blood flow to the brain. Yeah. So with all the scans, Dr. Daniel Amen, when I was first teaching or learning with him, at that time, he had done something of like 290,000 brain scans across the globe. And I'm sure now too, he's well over in that 300,000. So this guy knows what he's talking about. And when he does, especially all the research that he has done on Alzheimer's, that was one of the big predictors of how you are going to not only have Alzheimer's, but whether you turn that light switch on or off is brain flow. So very, very important for longevity. And the other thing there is, you know, to think about is diet and exercise. Making sure that we put that in there. And a bad diet, I just want to kind of emphasize on this, it deteriorates. So we have, like I just talked about, we have all those billions of neurons in our brain, and to keep those healthy and strong, you know, sugar deteriorates those vessels. And so when you are eating a sad American diet, a diet high in processed foods, and especially in extra sugars, you know, you are going to start deteriorating those vessels, which is going to eventually lead into type 3 diabetes, which is Alzheimer's. And the other best way that you can get in, which research is showing is a lot better cardio for the brain, which is like the zone 2 cardio, where that's kind of like if you're out and about, you're walking, and you're at a pace where you're feeling your heart is racing, but yet you can still kind of carry a conversation. And that was shown to actually increase, walking was actually shown to increase the longevity of your health and your brain. So really, really good stuff. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. So, and then moving on to the next one that we have here too, which is R, which is the next letter in Bright Minds. which stands for retirement and aging. I actually love this one. I found it so fascinating because we don't think about, I mean, we're like, we wanted to get to that point when we want to retire, but then we don't realize, and I didn't even realize it until, like I said, when I was with Dr. Daniel Amen, is, what happens to people when they retire. And, if you don't use it, if we're not using our brain, then we lose it.
Absolutely.
So we want to make sure when we retire that we're still staying active. And what I really love and that I learned is that you are not stuck with the brain that you have. You have at any time in your life to change the brain that you have and to give yourself those years back, which is absolutely fabulous. So it's not, you're not stuck with the destination that you think, in the path that you think that you're on. You have the ability to change that. So really, really fascinating.
That's fantastic news.
Yes. Especially too, I remember that he did a study. He was one of the people that helped football players when they were going through CTE, and one of the experiments that he did with them, one of the football players says, I will only do this experiment with you if my wife comes. She is severely at her stage of Alzheimer's. Pretty soon the doctor said she's not going to remember my name. So if this is good for me, it has to be good for her. And I want you to do this with her. And she did Amen's protocol, and she reversed her Alzheimer's.
Wow.
It was phenomenal. And to be able in class to see those scans of what it looked like before and what it looked like after was phenomenal. And that was enough for me right there to see the proof in the pudding that we can change. And
I've seen those scans. That they're intense to see the differences. I mean, it's intense in a fantastic way, though.
Yes.
It's really cool stuff. Yeah.
So when we are going through retirement and aging, and even too, I even think of this too as the ones that are transitioning, right? Because there's also that little bit of lapse if you're in the military where you're transitioning and you're in a space where you're not sure yet career-wise where you're going to go. So you're kind of in a little bit of a retirement phase, a little bit. And so you want to also be aware of this because you don't want to get in a rut either, because, that could be detrimental to, your progress moving forward. So things that protect you and protect the brain specifically as we are aging when it comes to retirement is you always want to make sure that you're doing new learning. New learning keeps the brain questioning what you're doing, and it keeps you very inquisitive, and keeps the synapses and the strength of those neurons really strong. Another thing too, which was really fantastic, was the importance of not being isolated, which can happen with retirement and also aging, as people tend to stay in more. They stop being social, and that had a high link to depression and anxiety. And so that also too, having depression and anxiety and those kind of an emotional barriers also weigh on the brain and lower that blood flow and can be detrimental as you age. So volunteering is a perfect way to get out there, still be a part of your community, still be engaging and feeling that you have some self-worth as you're aging. We also want to have quality in our relationships. Those are very great, and as far as the community too. We have, I always like to say, like with my kids, they'll come here, I need to get my oxytocin, and I like to grab onto my kids. But that's that feel good chemical that makes you feel connected, not only with yourself, but with others and the ones that you love. So being able to challenge the brain. Yeah.
Super important for retirement, but every day, especially veterans coming in during the transition period and their families, be involved, celebrate, dance, move. All these things are important, whether it's retirement or you're just transitioning out, as you said, your mini retirement, if you will, before you're purpose driven and you move forward. So I just wanted to add that in, please.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. And then just some foods that can kind of help in this process is just making sure that you're keeping up on a multivitamin. We also know that, this could also happen with people that are transitioning in that transition period. You might be coming home, you want to start eating those things that you haven't eaten in a long time, either being on base or being overseas, whatever it is. And so As long as you're still at least getting in a multivitamin, we know that we're getting in those nutrients and vitamins and minerals that are very essential to keeping our brain healthy. Turmeric is great. It's been known to lower inflammation, and we want to keep that inflammation down in the brain. And then fasting. There's so much information on fasting and what it does. I kind of like to say, I feel like this summer with my kids being home, I literally felt like I've been in the kitchen like every single day. And so, yeah, so I get done with it's kind of like this is how your body must feel. I had this thought. I was like, this is how your body must feel, right? So I'm in the kitchen, I make breakfast, I just get done cleaning up, and I have a kid that comes in and goes, I'm hungry. Right. And so if we give into that and we refeed and we remake a mess, your body is then concentrating on all that food and on that mess and not concentrating on other things like anti-aging, cell repair, getting, autophagy, getting rid of some of those bad cells. So we really need to have a time where we give our body a time to rest and digest. And so that way it can go through those processes to keep us from aging, right? Because we don't really want to age, right? We want to go backwards. So
right.
fasting is a great tool. And then another great link to longevity and brain health was some of these challenges that you can do. One of those is doing brain games, doing, maybe word puzzles, something that really gets you, into processing and trying to put things together like a puzzle. One of the ones that Dr. Amen loves to do is he loves playing ping pong because it has a little bit of everything. You got to have speed, agility, coordination, and your eyes, right? Your eyes that are an important part of being connected to our brain is one of the senses. And, the ball's going back and forth really fast. So doing things like that are just really, really helpful, and having those new experiences too. And making sure that we're moving. Again, we don't want to be sitting and being sedentary. So important, especially as you're aging too. We don't. I don't think we really appreciate as much our mobility and our flexibility until we get to that point where we're like, or I can't lift my leg, or I can't tie my shoe. This is where you really want to make sure as you continue to age that you're keeping up on that flexibility and mobility. Because you're going to have, more longevity. You're going to be able to, like, even if you want to go take road trips or go to other places, you'll be able to have the physicality to carry you to go do that. So
absolutely, this is something that's been coming up for me, and I know for Susan as well. We're getting older, not old, but older. It's what's our life going to look like in 20, 30 years?
Yes.
It's take care of yourself now.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
like Joseph says, right?
Yep.
When I plant that tree, you should have planted 20 years ago, but the next best time is right now. So
Right now.
with
Yep.
all this stuff, we can plant this tree for our brain right now. So and you can get started. Yeah. And so just going on to like the cerebellum, we want to keep that very strong. That's in the back of your brain there, which has to do with, that mobility, that functionality, and is connected to the prefrontal cortex. So we want to keep both of those really strong. And again, get off the couch, find things to do, get a hobby, and move around. Because there's that saying, right? If you sit too much on the couch, you become a couch potato. And we don't want you to feel that way as you get older. So, and the older you get, the more dialed in that you have to start getting, unfortunately. Because for a lot of people, I've seen a lot of those scans, and just even in a matter of 5 years and even to 10 years, the rate at which the brain can age can be so rapid. So as you are getting older, it is great to just be aware that, I really got to kind of stick to these lifestyle changes. And so that way, I have longevity as I age. And the next letter, the Bright Minds, is inflammation. This one, the Latin word for this is actually to set a fire. So I thought that was really interesting. And like Dr. Amen says, your level of fire, he was telling us this one time, your level of fire is destroying your organs. And it's so true, because what happens with inflammation is, your immune system goes into overdrive and it starts to say, oh my gosh, I have inflammation here. I need to attack. And so it starts to, attack and destroy those organs in the body, which is what we don't want, because then that causes aging and other things that follow. So getting your inflammation down can absolutely help you as far as your longevity. So some of the risks when it comes to inflammation that you might want to think about, they can cause things like dementia, depression. We kind of talked about that earlier, especially the anxiety. But here's another one, which is leaky gut syndrome. I know that word's been kind of in the last few years has been thrown out a lot, but we do know that what comes into our body, depending on whether it's good for us or bad for us, takes these tight junctions that are locked around our stomach like this. And over time, what those do, those toxins, they loosen those junctions, and then those chemicals get through and then they leach out into the rest of your body. They plant themselves somewhere and they cause this inflammation, which causes then your immune system to go into overdrive. So having a very healthy gut and a very healthy lining the gut is also going to help you too. This was really surprising for me when Dr. Amen talked about having gum disease. But as we know now too, that the gut starts with the mouth. And so that's your first line of defense. So having a very healthy mouth, healthy gums is going to keep a lot of those bacteria and organisms that we don't want to travel into the gut. And then, other parts like the small intestines or lower intestines, or we don't want those bugs to be. So having good oral health is very beneficial for protecting your gut. And then again, staying away from, that standard American diet, which again, too, like I was telling you, just really loosens up those junctions and causes that leaky gut, which then causes a lot of the inflammation. So a lot of research has been done. And one of the best diets out there is the Mediterranean diet, which keeps things very low in inflammation, very brain healthy. Curcumins are great for anti-inflammatory. And again, fasting. Fasting is so great. So it's definitely something, if you haven't implemented it before, I would definitely suggest that you just give it a try and just start somewhere.
It
And
made
then,
a huge difference for Susan and I
yeah,
with fasting. It's like night and day difference.
yes.
Another thing really quick is when you start cutting out the bad foods and then you try them again, it is amazing, even
Oh,
though you're tested for you're not allergic to it, how all of a sudden you realize you are, and the difference it makes in your body. It's pretty amazing.
yeah. And I don't know if you've had this experience before, Michael, but I know like if I've taken things out of my diet and then I'll reintroduce something that I had maybe when I was a kid or something, like let's say, for example, like a Twinkie, you're like, oh my God, I remember those as a kid. They were so amazing. And then you take a bite and you're like, something tastes like plastic.
Because it
You
is.
got right, but I mean, you really notice your palate changes is what
It
I'm,
does.
trying to get at. It's just amazing how your palate changes, and then when you really go back to eating some of those things that you go, whoa, I can really sense the toxins that are in there.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And you see that with lots of food. So when you start changing your diet, your body wants those good foods. It wants
Mhm.
those whole foods and, not, 3 ounces of salad dressing, just the nice fresh orange juice, a little bit of honey in it is amazing. I mean, it's
Mhm.
really crazy how it changes, just like you said. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Hey, Gina,
Yes.
so we only have a couple of minutes left.
Oh my goodness.
I know, right? I think
Yeah.
let's finish this slide and then we'll pick
Okay.
this up next time so we can just
Okay,
go.
yeah, and then we'll go to the next one last time. So yeah, so to finish it off, I would definitely suggest when it comes to inflammation is knowing your numbers is going to be very helpful of where you're at. You can do a waist check. That's something super easy that you can do at home. If you are a male and your waistline is 40 inches or above, that's an indicator that you have some inflammation going on. And for women, it's 35 and above. So always getting an allergy and a gut test is a great place to start too, because sometimes we don't realize that we could be eating a food, and even though we're not going anaphylactic or it's not causing hives, it could be a low grade inflammation, but over time it is build up. So
What is a gut check?
I'm sorry.
Did you say get a gut check?
Yeah, a gut test.
Test, sorry, thank
Yeah,
you. What is
allergy
that?
and gut test. Yes.
So is it the same? What is a gut test? I've not heard that before.
Yeah. A gut test is going to tell you now our gut has its own colony of species in there. We
Okay.
want that species to be very diverse. And so you will be able to tell by taking this test. It's a stool test, and it comes to your house. You can take it, you can send it off, and it is really amazing because it will tell you what kind of species you have in there, what your colony looks like, what you're low on, and what you can start introducing into your diet so that way you can kind of bloom a better colony. inside
That's
of your
fantastic.
gut. Yes.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
And
I did not know that.
the more diverse and more rounded that your gut is, the healthier and that you're going to be, and the better you're going to age, and the longer your life expectancy is too.
I'm ordering one today. I did not know.
Yeah, and Ombre is a great company. I've used them before with my clients. They are a great company. OMBRE. They're fantastic.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So is there anything else on this that we want to cover? Or
not on this one? No, not on this one. We're good. I can stop sharing, and we can hold off for next time too.
Sounds good. Should we tease what's the next two?
Yeah, so the next one that we're going to be going into, which is going to be G, which is all about our genes. Then from there, we've got head trauma. We're going to talk about T is for toxins. So you're going to have to just come back so you can get little bits of this every single week.
I'll be here.
Yeah, so will I. Love it.
I'll be here for every show.
I love it. I love it.
No, absolutely. Fantastic information, Gina, as always. Thank you so much. You bring so much value when you're on the show. So truly, truly appreciate you, my friend. How do people reach you?
Yeah, so they can first find me on Instagram, which is at Gina Will Show You. I am also on Facebook at Gina Iovino. You can also find me at Health and Mindset Revolution, where I have a page there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And you know the drill.
Yes, I do. And I'm ready. Yeah.
3 tips for veterans and their families to get them further faster.
Yes. First one I'm going to suggest for you from Dr. Daniel Amen is this book, which is called Change Your Brain Every Day. This is a fantastic book. It is 366 days of knowledge for you to get you further faster, right? And what I love about this too is what he did is each day you have one paragraph to read, and then there's an action that you have to take. So I know that you talked before on your podcast about waking up every day to positivity and what that can do for you, right? And how can it set the course? So you're going to want to get this right here. I don't want you going to your phone, because you go to our phone, we get distracted with other things. Wake up in the morning, turn on your brain by actually reading, and give yourself a positive action plan and some steps to take that goes along with this whole concept of bright minds. So that's my number one.
Love it. Have the book.
Love it. Yes, I love it. Love it. The second one is, we talked about apps last week. Download those apps. You've got that Fun Llama app that can help you stay hydrated. And if you're feeling a little stressed or anxious, that can also help you through meditation to get through that process. So that's going to be 2. And if you want to go listen to that, you can go back onto Your Thoughts and Your Reality podcast and go watch. Yeah, go watch and go listen to that too as well, because we gave some great tips there. And the last one is, I'm going to challenge you to sign yourself up for something. Oh. And especially if you are transitioning back, being a veteran, putting yourself into something, sign yourself up, whether it's for a new club membership or you're going to volunteer somewhere, because what that is going to do for you is going to get you off the couch. It's going to put you into motivation mode. It's going to start helping you network with people. And again, it's going to help with blood flow, because we're going to be moving and we're going to be shaking. So
yeah, love it. Excellent. Thank you for those tips. It's weird. You're all prepared for it, like you've been here before. I love it. I love it. Gina, as always, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your brilliance, and your time. Obviously, most valuable resource we have as humans. We don't get it back, and the 35 minutes or so we've been here, you're such an honor to share that time with. So thank you. All right, everybody. You know what time it is. We are out of here.
Thank you for joining us on another insightful journey of Your Thoughts, Your Reality podcast with your host, Michael Cole. We hope the conversation sparked some thoughts that resonate with you. To dive deeper into empowering your thoughts and enhancing your reality, visit empowerperformancestrategies.com. Remember, your thoughts shape your reality, so make them count. Until next time, stay inspired and keep creating the reality you desire. Catch you on the next episode.